Well, Thanksgiving 2024, Santa has arrived in Herald Square. The turkey's in the oven, I'm sure. It better be at least by now. And everybody is getting ready to watch some football, as that's what we do here on Thanksgiving. 3 games today to kick off week 13 in the NFL. You got the Lions and the Bears opening it up, the 12 o'clock game, then the Giants and the Cowboys. Interesting a little bit because, you know, the quarterback situation. We're going to get to that. And then tonight, you got the best game of the 3. The most consequential game of the 3 is the Packers hosting the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins are winners of 3 in a row. They're trying to make a push for the postseason. So we're going to get to all that. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to the show, Locked Up Sports. We are live here in Queens, New York. I have worked tonight. I worked last night, so I am not heading out to spend it with the family because by the time I got out there, I wouldn't be able to make it back in time to go to work tonight at 9 o'clock. So hello to my family. Happy Thanksgiving to them, as my wife and my daughter are on their way out there for a nice Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not a big Thanksgiving fan. I'll get to that later in the show as we get you ready for some football here. And, you know, so it's obviously, it's always the Lions and it's always the Cowboys, 2 teams that have always played on Thanksgiving for as long as I've been alive. The Lions are 37-45-2 on Thanksgiving Day. They always play at home. They've lost 7 straight Thanksgivings, even though the Lions were bad for most of my life growing up. As far as the Thanksgiving Day games go, they were usually a bad game. There was the year they were 0-16. They've gotten good now. Now they might be, and I happen to think they're the best team in the NFL. But they still have lost 7 straight games on Thanksgiving Day. They lost last year to the Packers, 29-22. They fell behind big early at halftime. I think it was 23-6. They made a late push and they fell short, 29-22. They are 8-11 all time against the Bears on Thanksgiving Day. And, you know, it's an interesting matchup today with the Bears. It's a rivalry game. It's a division game. The Bears have their star quarterback, who they are doing everything possible to ruin, Caleb Williams. It's been disappointing, I guess you could say, with Caleb Williams, but I mean, you can't judge a quarterback. I don't know why we get all wrapped up in this judging these quarterbacks in the first year. Give it 3 years. Caleb Williams will be okay. I don't think he's going to be the star that a lot of people thought he was going to be. I don't see that happening. But I do think that he's going to be okay. He's going to be a good quarterback in this league. But the Bears, I mean, they've already now 11 games, 12 weeks into this season, have fired their offensive coordinator. So the Bears are screwing this up. And if you want to screw up a quarterback, a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, keep messing with his coaches. Keep messing with the offenses that he's got to learn. It's hard enough to learn a new offense and an NFL offense coming out of college, because it's complete apples and oranges, completely different things. From the college game to the NFL game, and it's hard enough to learn one playbook and one offense. But when you switch it up on these guys, and that's part of the reason Daniel Jones was no good, because the Giants were switching coaches and switching offenses like nothing. And that screws a quarterback up. They like, people don't realize they'll blame, oh, Daniel Jones stinks. I happen to think Daniel Jones is no good. But to give him a little, slack here, he did go through 2 head coaches, three offensive coordinators. It's tough. You're doing everything possible to screw the kid up while he's coming out and trying to learn how to play in the NFL, which is hard enough. It's a completely different game. It's fast. It's faster than college. It's more complex. The defenses, the blitzes, everything's more complex. It's a harder game, just harder to learn, and it's fast out there. So, and Daniel Jones has, he's landed. The Vikings have signed Daniel Jones, and how about that? How about the Vikings? Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. I mean, again, another example of you can't make this stuff up with the Jets and the Giants. You can't make it up. If I would have told you 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones would be the starting and backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, yeah, you would have thought I was crazy. And you would probably say, if that were true, exactly, the Giants and Jets are exactly where they are now, not knowing that that Aaron Rodgers has came and just, the Jets have gone the complete disaster. But with no Jets today, because the Jets we know how bad they are. We know what a disaster, what a circus it is. They are not playing today. They will play this Sunday against Seattle at MetLife, and they're not going to win that game. The Jets. I talked to a Jets fan at work yesterday who said, "Well, if we win out, we're not eliminated yet." Like, come on, this team has a better chance of losing the rest of their games than winning 2 games, let alone run the table. And I think if they run the table, they still probably wouldn't get in because they would still probably need help. But anyway, that's beyond the point. So the 12 o'clock game, you got the 10-1 Lions against the 4-7 Bears. I expect it to be pretty close just because it's a division game. It's Thanksgiving. It's a rivalry game. The Lions are, I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL, but they got to be careful because right nipping at their heels is Minnesota and the Vikings, who are 9-2. And the Vikings are coming. You don't hear much about the Vikings. You heard about Sam Darnold having a good start. He's cooled off a bit, but they are 9-2, and they are one slip up away from the Lions from getting right into the division race, and the Lions not having the road to the Super Bowl go through Detroit, because if the road to the Super Bowl goes through Detroit, and the Lions get that number 1 seed, they are going to be a tough out in January, and I think right now, they're my pick to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Now, Jared Goff he's having a great year. A great year. He's in the MVP talk. He's probably leading the MVP race right now if you want to, look at early returns, right? Because it's only Thanksgiving, a lot can happen. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But so far this year, he's got 20 touchdowns. He's got over 2,700 yards. He's got a 73% completion percentage. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And the Lions are just steamrolling people every week. I mean, they blow teams out. Week after week after week, they're blowing teams out. So there's that. And then at the 4 o'clock game, the 4:25 game, you're going to have the Giants and let me just switch on over the page here. The 2-9 Giants against the 4-7 Cowboys, and it's not a game anybody really wants to see, right? I mean, it's Cowboys-Giants, it's Thanksgiving. Do you expect this to be a good game? It's going to be, Cooper Rush against Drew Lock, who's getting the start. It's better that it's Drew Lock than if it was Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, who stayed back in New York, who had a sore arm, stayed back to get further evaluation. It hasn't been announced official that Drew Lock is the quarterback, but it's expected, and he's going to be starting the game. So Drew Lock, and Drew Lock is a kid. Listen, he has potential. He was a second-round pick in 2019, just 5 years ago. He's got a big arm. He's going to push the ball down the field. He's going to throw the ball deep. He is a bit reckless. He's known to throw picks. He takes chances that he probably doesn't need to take or shouldn't take, and a lot more times than not, it ends up in the other team's hands. He tries to be Brett Favre without the talents of Brett Favre, is what he tries, or John Elway. He tries to be John Elway or Brett Favre without the talents of a John Elway or Brett Favre, and that costs you when you don't have that kind of ability, when you're not a gunslinger like those two guys. Cowboys all time on Thanksgiving, they haven't been playing as long as the Lions have. The Cowboys this will be the 57th game on Thanksgiving for the Cowboys. They've been playing since 1966 football on Thanksgiving in Dallas, except for 2 years they missed. They are 33-22-1. So Cowboys with a winning record, but a losing record this year. The Lions with a losing record overall, but a winning record this year. And listen, this is going to be one of those games where you'll notice it. The starting quarterbacks, and I tell you this, I told you this last year, the reason why they protect these starting quarterbacks, and everybody's up in arms about it, they don't let them touch the quarterback, it's two-hand touch for the quarterback. Watch a game that has 2 backup quarterbacks in it, Today will be a prime example. Drew Lock has not played in a long time, and Cooper Rush is no good. When you watch a game with backup quarterbacks, you see why they protect these quarterbacks, because the quality of play and the entertainment value is not there in these games when you have two backup quarterbacks playing. The reality of the situation is there's really only about maybe 40 people in the world that can play the position of quarterback in the NFL at a level where the game is entertaining enough to be as popular as it is. And that is why they protect the quarterbacks, because they can't afford to lose them. The quarterbacks are the stars. They're the highest paid guys for a reason. They are the league. The 32 starting quarterbacks in this league are the league. You could say whatever you want. That's just the facts. That is facts, because we'll go watch the games last year. Watch that Giants-Jets game. Watch it. 30% of the quarterbacks last year, the starting quarterbacks, went down with injuries. There was some terrible football games last year. But back to this year, you got Drew Lock. We'll see how he does. I'm curious to see how he does. I think he'll do okay. I think he's going to be rusty. The Giants got to be careful because their defense is terrible. They don't tackle anybody. They get receivers running free in the secondary all season. And if Drew Lock comes out and he's shaky to begin with and he turns the ball over, it could very easily get out of hand. And the Giants, before they kind of get their bearings about it, and Drew Lock gets himself in the game and really focused and playing back to the way he can play, it could be 21-0 already if they're not careful, because the defense is no good. The coaching has been no good. I fully expect Dable now not to be the coach next year. And the quarterback play has just not been good from any of them. I mean, last week, Tommy DeVito, you want to put him in there? Listen, I guess you can. They threw the fans a bone. They wanted to see Tommy DeVito. They were excited to see it. And then you saw it, and it wasn't any good. He holds the ball too long. He almost got killed on that first possession. He had 41 yards in the first half. That's all you need to know. Punt, turnover, kneel down was the Giants' first half. It's terrible to watch. And they get booed off the field week after week. This Giants team is just as bad and just as dysfunctional as the Jets. And they kind of get in the pass a little bit this year because the Jets had such high expectations and are such a disaster that I think the Giants are getting a bit of a pass. Not much, but a bit of a pass. And we'll see. We'll see what Drew Lock does today. I expect, I shouldn't say I expect Dable to air it out, because I have no idea what Dable does. I think he was I think he's overrated as a coach. I think he came in, he had that good first year. They went to the playoffs, and it's just been no good since. It really hasn't. It's been no good. Well, the second year they went to the playoffs, but the first year there was marketable improvement, and he's just not a good coach right now. This team is not prepared to play in a lot of these games. And last year especially, there were a ton of games that they weren't prepared to play. This year, you've seen it again. The defense they can't tackle anybody. The defense it's not a good defense, but they are not this bad. I mean, you got guys running through they're arm tackling. They're trying to shoulder tackle with they're not wrapping anybody up. It's basic. This is basic stuff. This is peewee football stuff that the Giants are not doing right. And the quarterback play is terrible. And, he goes up to the podium after every game, and it's just, I'm to blame. It's the buck stops with me. And nobody wants to hear it because you stink. And we see, we're fans. We're not stupid. We know football. Giant fans know football. They are smart, intelligent fans. Trust me, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. And I am as smart and intelligent as it gets. But we know what we're talking about. We're not idiots. We see the arm tackles. We see the receivers just running free in the secondary. We see guys just the corners and the safeties out of position. We see the offensive line, which was just a disaster for God knows how long. They supposedly fixed it. It's not much better. You don't have, Eric Flowers false starts every twice a possession. But other than that, the quarterback, the protection for the quarterback and the run blocking hasn't been great. The running back has been okay, but it's a lost year for the Giants. It's a lost year for the Jets. And as Giants and Jets fans and as New York football fans, you got to be thankful that it's over. That's almost over, right? The only problem is it's not going to get any better next year. How could it possibly get better? The Giants are going to get worse. I can't imagine Rodgers comes back. The Jets are going to get worse. It's going to be, you're now staring down the barrel of a couple more years like this. And it's unfortunate. It really is. At least the Giants, and that's another thing you're thankful for here on this Thanksgiving, is you're thankful for Eli Manning. And those of you that were trashing Eli, and he's not good, and he's not a Hall of Famer, and while he was playing, you're thankful for him now. You miss him, don't you? You miss that average, not great, not elite quarterback, don't you? Because he won 2 Super Bowls. And he was money when it counted. There's nobody I'd rather have the ball, except maybe like a John Elway. With less than 2 minutes left and 75, 80 yards to go and having to stick it in the end zone, there's nobody in a big game in January, nobody I'd rather have than Eli Manning. The Giants now can't move the ball 5 feet. They got Tommy DeVito with 41 yards of offense in the first half. They're bringing in Drew Lock, who's basically a bust second-round pick. Their quarterback that's making $40 million was cut 2 weeks ago and is now the backup on the Vikings. Be thankful that we had Eli Manning because the Jets don't have anything like that. You know, they'll talk about the 2 AFC championship games and this and that. It's not 2 Super Bowls. It's not 2 rings. Jets fans would give it all up for just one of those rings that Eli got us. And he beat the undefeated Patriots. He beat the great Belichick and the great Brady twice. So be thankful for Eli Manning on this Thanksgiving 2024. The third game, the night game, interesting game. Packers coming off a blowout win against the Niners, who are really just, it's not their year, the Niners. They don't, it got off on the wrong foot and it just never got better. They're mediocre. Push that aside. Packers playing well. Jordan Love playing well. He's coming into his own as the Packers quarterback. They're 8-3. They're a good team. They're a top team in the NFC. I don't really put them up there with teams like the Eagles, the Lions, and the Vikings. I think those 3 are a rung ahead of teams like the Packers. But the Packers are sneaky good. Jordan Love is sneaky good, and we all know Lambeau is a tough spot to go into in January in the playoffs and win a game, come away with a win. Another thing Eli did twice. But it's a tough spot. Now the Dolphins are holding on for dear life. They lost Tua early with the concussion. He was out for 3 weeks. They nosedived. Now he's back. They've won 3 in a row after 2 tough losses when he first came back. They've now won 3 in a row. They're 5-6. They're in the conversation. This is a must-win for them. They gotta go into Lambeau, which is not going to be easy. Thanksgiving night. It's a short week for all these teams, so expect that gives the teams that are not as maybe a little bit the underdogs. It gives them a better shot in a game like this because it's a quick turnaround. A Sunday to Thursday is a quick turnaround, and it's tough to go and play well and install a game plan, and your body's not recovered. Football's meant to be played once a week. There's a reason why they play Sundays. And there's a reason why you don't play Monday nights multiple, 4 or 5 times in the season. You play like 1 or 2 Monday nights because they get the crap beat out of them. And for your body to recover in 4 days and get back on the field and play another NFL game, it's not easy. But so that is something that the Dolphins can kind of hold on to, but it's not easy for the road teams. The road teams historically on these Thursday night games get slaughtered. They lose a much bigger percentage of the time than they do normally on Sundays, Sunday to Sunday. So, but the Dolphins need this one in the worst way. They got to get back to 6-6. They got to win some games, get their head above water here, and then kind of hope things break their way, and they could backdoor into the playoffs. They're a completely different team with Tua. He's a winner. He's a good quarterback. I don't know if I would be playing if I was Tua, because he's also he could possibly be one play away from, just severe brain trauma and brain damage, and he might have already done it already to himself, because he gets serious concussions. Remember the one we had where his fingers were like this? Tua gets bad concussions, and he's had multiple bad concussions. And you've looked at players like, Andrew Luck. I couldn't think of his name. You look at players like Andrew Luck, who also had concussion issues. He got out. Andrew Luck, he played, not very long. Had concussion issues, was a great quarterback. Could have been a Hall of Fame quarterback. Andrew Luck was as good as it gets. Right through Stanford, out of Stanford, in the NFL, he was as good a quarterback as there is in this league. During his time playing, he left early. Because you know why? Because he's a 30-something-year-old guy, and he's got most of his life ahead of him. When Tua does retire, when all these players retire, they're in their 30s. They got a whole life ahead of them. Tua's got to be careful. And if I was Tua, I don't think I'd be playing. The risk is just too high. And the fact that they put him back out there this year, I don't know if I would have done that. I don't know if I would have been comfortable doing that. If I was a doctor saying he could, I'm not a doctor, but if I was, you really comfortable clearing Tua to play? But that's a whole other thing. As far as on the field goes, they're 5-6. They've won 3 in a row. They need tonight's game in the worst way. And if they can get it, they're back in the conversation. Because in that NFC, you got a lot of mediocre teams. You got a lot of teams that are like the Dolphins. And a lot of them are division leaders. Like the Falcons, like the NFC West with the Niners and the Seahawks. Like they're all right there. It's basically a top-heavy NFL in general this year, but it's a top-heavy NFC. And there's a lot of mediocre to bad teams. Just is what it is. So that's going to do it basically for us today. Like I said, I'm not a Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving is an overrated holiday. I think turkey. Listen, I don't look forward. I think people like everybody getting, the turkey. Turkey's a cold cut, right? Turkey's meant to be cold cuts. To me, these turkeys, and the turkey sandwich the day after, like people, you'd think it was the greatest thing ever. A turkey sandwich the day after Thanksgiving or the 2 days after. You're going to see it all on your social media. Tonight around 5, 6 o'clock. Can't wait for that turkey sandwich later. Gonna have that turkey sandwich before I go to bed. Can't wait to have it tomorrow. Really? Is it really that good? Because if it was, don't you think we'd be eating turkey more than just on like 3 holidays? Because that's really all we eat it. Maybe give me a prime rib. I'd rather a nice steak. Prime rib. Chicken fingers. That's my meal right there. I'd rather any of that than a turkey. I don't mind a turkey sandwich, but I want it cold cuts. Turkey's a cold cut. And the fact of the matter is if it was better, if it really was as good as everybody makes it out to be today, and on Christmas, we'd eat it more, right? Why would you not eat it more? Why would you not eat it like once a week? You could buy turkey breasts just like you could buy chicken breasts. How come they don't cut the turkey up and serve it and sell it like they do the chicken if it's so much better? Because the fact is it's not very good. And I get it. Your mom or your grandma, the stuffing, give me a break. Stuffing. Stuffing's another one. You ain't eating stuffing all the time. And it's not that hard to make. You can buy stuff. And I know that I'm going to get killed with saying you can buy stuffing. Everyone makes their own stuffing. The stuffing is not that good. Mashed potatoes we eat all the time. So what's so special about that? Thanksgiving's overrated. Thanksgiving dinner is overrated. And the fact is it's overrated. But you don't want to admit it because everyone's like, the turkey, I'm tired, the tryptophan and the turkey sandwich tomorrow. Shut up. Give me a prime rib. Give me prime rib, medium rare, with a side of fries. Much better than your turkey and stuffing. So that does it for us today. We'll come back. We'll try and do something later today, maybe tomorrow. Preview the rest of the games on week 13 in the NFL. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. With that said, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Enjoy your family. That's what really matters here today. Happy Thanksgiving to my family, my brothers, my sisters, my father, my mother, my wife, my daughter, everybody. It's Christmas time now, right? Black Friday tomorrow. Get shopping. Get those deals. Get up. Get early. Get to the store. And, try and trample over some people to get that television. So that does it for us. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.